Good morning. It is 11 a.m. on the 2nd of September 2020. My name is Arran Hunt. I'm a partner here at Stace Hammond and the head of the Migration Partners team. You'll actually have recently seen a video from Yuan, one of the other members of the Migration Partners team. Another video from her shortly. She's doing a fantastic job in bringing across that message in Mandarin, something that I definitely cannot do. Auckland is out of lockdown. We've been in lockdown this week. However, I am at home with the flu, so I'm still in my apartment here. Hopefully back in the office tomorrow. Now, not much has changed in the past few weeks, which is why there's been no video from me. We don't want to do a video just for the sake of doing a video. We actually want to just do a video that actually provides you some new information on what's happening with immigration. Now, today's an update based around just some updates on what's happening in Immigration New Zealand. This is not legal advice, of course. This is just us providing an update on what's happening with Immigration New Zealand. If you want legal advice, you have to be a client of ours, so get in contact. We can look at your situation and provide information. Now, for those looking from overseas looking for visas, the border remains closed, meaning that Immigration New Zealand cannot process a visa without an exception. This is how it's been for some time. We've done a video previously on exceptions, to go and check that out, and you'll get to know whether you have an exception or not that you can make use of. For those overseas who have visas, or for any other New Zealand citizen, getting into New Zealand is currently really difficult. This is the same reason that the borders are closed and there isn't enough quarantine spaces available. We've covered this before, but I'm going to give you some numbers. Now, in the past year, officially, we've had 45,500 more citizens return to New Zealand than have left. And I would say that the vast majority, if not all of those, have been due to COVID-19. So in the past, over the last 6 months, we're looking at 45,500 more New Zealanders have come back. And now they get first shot at the quarantine space. So you come to New Zealand, you get quarantined for 2 weeks. They get the first shot at those spots. And they're taking up 95% of the places. So there's 5% left, which is basically being used for those who have exceptions. The vast majority of those coming back are citizens, and they're filling up the quarantine space. Now, even now, I know of people who are trying to get back in New Zealand, and it's taking them months. These New Zealand citizens. A friend of mine actually in Dubai is thinking to come back in New Zealand now in November. He thinks there'd be no possibility of coming to New Zealand before then because there are no flights available. The New Zealand government is controlling the number of arrivals by limiting the number of people that each airline can bring into the country. So we have flights across from Australia, which is sort of 1/3 full, and only a certain number. They actually just stopped all flights coming from Australia for several weeks. Recently, they've started again now, but there's still a much smaller number. Airlines like Qatar are actually flying empty planes into New Zealand. They're flying people out of New Zealand, but they have no right to bring people in, so the planes are actually currently empty. Australia has much the same issue. People waiting months to get flights to some states, even just coming from New Zealand to Australia, which is a very short flight. They need to make sure that there's quarantine space available. For that reason, the airlines are basically stopping flights, and even people who have flights booked, the flights are being cancelled, or they're being sort of kicked off the flight because there's too many people. And that's happening quite a lot. One person I know flying back in the next few weeks, now looking at November. So it's a shambles, but that is how the governments are handling that border issue. Now, for those of you flying out of India, we've had a lot of talk from people about flights from India to New Zealand, and also a lot about scams that are going on, people sort of trying to sell tickets that don't actually exist, or flights that aren't confirmed yet. So please be careful if you're looking to buy tickets out of India to New Zealand or anywhere else. Make sure that the flight and the tickets that you are buying are genuine. People are desperate at times, so I understand why you'd want to grab these tickets when you can, but just be cautious to make sure that they are actual real flights and real tickets. And now, one question we've had a lot in the comments is regarding the VSS, the Visa Application Centres, or the VACs, outside of New Zealand. We had an update from Immigration New Zealand on those this morning. Now, firstly about the Immigration New Zealand, the foreign branches. Now, with the exception of Apia, which is already open because they're not they haven't got COVID in that country, all of the offshore processing centres for New Zealand are still closed. That's the Immigration New Zealand branches. And of course, the ban on foreign applications remains in place until the 10th of November, unless you have an exception. Now, from next Monday, 7th of September, some of those those VFS centres, will reopen to accept applications from those people who have border exceptions. and they'll be able to accept documentation of the passports as they have in the past. Now, there isn't a list yet of which centres are going to be reopening. However, we do not expect Mumbai to be on that list. We expect India to have no VFS for some time because of what is going on in India right now. And our thoughts and prayers are with you guys in India, because that is, you're going through a hard time. Now, if you do get an exception and you're one of these countries that hasn't got a VFS, or your usual VFS in a neighbouring country is not open, then the correct thing to do is to contact Immigration New Zealand and ask them what the best path is to take. Don't just assume you send it to another VFS, because that could be closed as well, and they might just send it back. So talk to Immigration New Zealand and get from them the advice, or come to us and we can do that on your behalf. Now, that's basically the update on what's going with immigration. Now, as for migration partners, we've updated our online form. We have an online form. You can fill in your details. It comes through to us at a discounted rate. We go through it and we look at what your options are in regards to immigration. Now, we've updated the online form, and now instead of sending you back an email, we actually now do a video or a voice call, and probably with myself or myself and maybe one or two of the staff. We'll go through with the information you've provided, your options, any questions you might have. Sort of do a 20-minute, half an hour video or voice call over Zoom, Teams, Skype, whatever is best for you. The form can be found on the Migration Partners website. There's a link at the end of this video and also in the description below. And we've also got a 20% discount code. So at the end of this video, you'll see a discount code that's expires 12th of September. You should use it before then. We'll see about doing another one after that. So put the code in, you'll get the discount, and within a couple of days of you filling out the form, we'll be in touch with you, arranging a video time or a voice call if that's easier, and we'll go through with you your options, any questions you've got of the process, or how best you can move forward with your immigration, whether you want to come to New Zealand or whether you want to stay here. Now, for those of you who are currently overseas and don't get an exception, there's no reason why you can't look at now as to know what you can do after the border reopens, because when that does take place, there's going to be a massive number of applications going in. So better to prepare now and look at what you can do documentation wise, or how you can get yourself ready for that application later on. And that's about it, actually, what we've got for today. Now, one quick note that there's changes to immigration rules are coming through less frequently now, as Immigration New Zealand is starting to settle in as to what the rules are going to be. It's been a time of upheaval and times of just absolute craziness. Now the rules are they're starting to get better defined now, and working a bit better than they were a few months ago. Now, remember that those of you who are in New Zealand on a temporary visa, you may have had a visa extension up until September 25th. If you did, you only have a few weeks left. So get on that application now, because you must have an application in place before your current visa expires. Otherwise, you'll be here unlawfully, and that's just going to create more issues for yourself. That is all we've got for today. So as always, kia kaha to all of you out there. Stay safe and see you again soon.